Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Dema here. Today is Wednesday, a beauty video. Of course, I give you guys beauty videos, beauty tips, beauty hacks, beauty everything on Wednesdays. If you haven't figured that out, that's kind of what I am trying to do. This video is one that I have wanted to do for such a long time. These are basically things that I wish someone had sat me down and told me at the beginning, like when I had just started getting into makeup. Even after I had gotten into makeup, I wish that it was easy to come by answers, because sometimes you'll even try like searching on YouTube or Google, and some of the answers that just came up did not quite work for me. So these are tried and trusted methods to actually solve certain things. What I'm going to be sharing with you guys are 5 tips and hacks for makeup lovers, makeup enthusiasts, anybody who wears makeup, period. The things that I'm going to say in this video are going to come in helpful, I am sure, at a point. So let's go. So the first thing that I am going to tell you guys that I just wish that someone had told me at the beginning is that you have oily skin, you need to hydrate it, don't starve it. And I think that at the beginning, this was one of the reasons why my makeup did not look really well. I would use this very mattifying moisturizers that kind of gave my face a very matte finish, and then I'll go over it with very mattifying primers that kind of even sucked more out of my face, and then I will now go in with foundation. And you see that most times, even like the most dewy foundation, like your skin just looked a certain way. It didn't look supple, it didn't look soft, it did not look like, you know how like when you see makeup artists doing skin work on Instagram, for example, these clients, before like the artists go over their faces with powder, their faces look so soft, so luscious, so dewy, and also very hydrated, even like with foundation on top of it. This is because regardless of your skin type, please, your skin needs to be hydrated. And I'm saying this as someone who has oily skin, and not just oily skin, but oily acne prone skin. Having oily skin is one, having acne prone skin is one. So acne prone skin means that you're prone to breakouts, right? And I would use these things that were very mattifying, very drying at a point, and like I just did not like the base that I would end up with. And let's say that you've done this mattifying moisturizer thing, you've done the mattifying primer thing, and then you're now going over it with a very mattifying foundation. It will just look patchy. Your foundation will not look even, it will not look smooth, it will not look the way you want it to. It will just look patchy. And it is because your skin, the base, whatever you've done to prep it, you've not done it properly. So please, I would highly recommend, okay? I'll highly recommend hydrating your skin with a very good moisturizer. One of my favorite moisturizers, I shared that in a recent skincare routine video. I'm going to have it linked in the description box, is the Huda Beauty Honey Balm, I think it's called. It's very hydrating. I love to use that particular moisturizer before I apply foundation. My skin always just looks amazing. And even for primers, guys, there's so many primers that would control oil without drying your skin out. Huda Beauty has a very good one. Too Faced has a very good one as well. Just make sure that you're not doing the triple mattifying thing. Mattifying moisturizer, mattifying primer, mattifying foundation. It will not end well. You're not going to like the result that you end up with. It's just like too much for the skin most of the time. So I just wish that I had known this earlier. So the next thing was also something that I figured out just via trial and error. If you feel like you've created some sort of dent on your base, so you know sometimes when you've done your foundation, done your concealer, even gone over it with powder, and then you've had to put your hand, and this happens a lot, especially for people who kind of do their foundation before their eye makeup. And sometimes, like even recently, when you're trying to fix something that is not right after you've done your whole face, you can actually press down on your face or just kind of place your hand on your face in a weird way that actually, depending on the type of foundation, can create a dent. Guys, what you want to do in that situation is to go over that area with a fluffy brush. Beauty blender is another way. So use the beauty blender you use when you're applying your foundation to kind of dab in that area to fix it. But then I feel like it takes someone who is used to doing this to know how to do it right, because from experience, beauty blender can make things worse sometimes. I would say go over that area with a fluffy brush. So an example would be this type of brush. Just have one of these spare lying around, not necessarily for eyeshadow. This is an eyeshadow brush. Use this and take that liquid product that you're trying to use to cover up whatever mistake that you've made, and just lightly just dab it on that area. It is the best way to fix it. You don't want to go in with your fingers to start tapping. If the foundation has a lot of movement, it's going to move things, okay? And you're not going to like that result. So use a very, very nice fluffy brush to kind of like fill in the areas where you've lost some liquid product that you applied initially. I think that this is a very, 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 very good way. I'm telling you guys from experience, using your hand to go over it avoid, no. Let's say that you use like a paint brush, like a painter type, those flat, hold on. So like, you know, flat foundation brushes that kind of look like this. So let's say that this is what you use initially to apply foundation on your skin. I would not recommend it, especially if you've gone over that area with powder, to try to use this to patch up that area. It will not look the best, I think. So this works the best for me from experience. You know, like I said, Beauty Blender kind of also works, but you have to know what you're doing to actually make that work for you, okay? This next one is a tip for when you mess up when you're applying mascara, especially after you've done a full face of makeup, you've used foundation, you've used powder, and you accidentally, for any reason, just get that mascara around your nose, on the eye area. That's the areas where these things tend to happen. It's happened to me. It's happened to a lot of people who I know who wear makeup. So what I would highly recommend that you do is to not panic, okay? And I know that the automatic thing to do or to want to do is to wipe it off that minute. Not a good idea, especially if you've already applied powder over your base. Just let that mascara dry. That little dot that you made like an error, let it dry. Once it's dried, you can go in with this type of brush. I like to use like a spoolie and just kind of just scrape it very gently on the surface, and you'll be so surprised how it will just kind of fall off, because at that point it's dried, and it kind of like this, just little, don't go scraping that area, but just very gently, it will just come off very easily without leaving any stain that is too bad like to deal with or handle. If the mascara is very black and very pigmented, you might end up with a very faint color on that area. I just told you guys what to do now. Like the tip that I gave for kind of covering up areas where you've lost products after you've done your full face of makeup applies. You can also just use that, go over it and go over that area with a little bit of setting powder. But it's very, very important that you let that mascara dry. You don't want to swipe at it while it's wet, because what it does is that it spreads the product to more areas than you had it initially, and it's just a little bit tricky just getting it off at that point. So let the mascara dry, just let it dry. I know that it's something that can just make you panic, especially if you're in a rush and you don't have a lot of time. Just let the mascara dry still. It's just easier to get that mascara off when it's dry. Give it about 5 to 10 minutes, not even up to that. In about 5 minutes it should be dry. So the last two tips are for people who wear false eyelashes like I do. I love wearing false eyelashes. I think that they finish a look nicely. This particular hack does not necessarily, okay, yes, it does apply to people who have semi-permanent lashes on, but I'll get to that just in a few seconds or minutes. Just let me explain something first. So you guys know when you're trying to apply a pair of lashes, right? And let's say that for some reason we can all be clumsy like that. In the process, you kind of got glue, you know, lash glue on the eyelash, right? And then once you know this area comes in contact with any type of glue, especially eyelash glue, what happens is that it kind of sticks together. So what it does is that it makes some areas kind of stick together, just changes the way that the lashes actually look naturally. And it's very frustrating because you're seeing that some of them are kind of like gelled together at the tips, does not look well. I'm going to insert a clip here that explains in detail what I'm saying. So this is what like I'm trying to explain. When you have glue on the hairs on your lash and it kind of just makes some areas stick together, clump together, not a nice look at all. One good way to fix this is to use mentholated spirit or rubbing alcohol. I don't know why I had to take a deep breath before saying that, but guys, this works like magic. And I'm telling you guys because I have tried combing through repeatedly with a spoolie and nothing happened. At a point, I know that I have tried using makeup removing wipes to kind of, you know, just clean the glue off. And guys, what that does is that in most cases, makeup removing wipes or any type of makeup remover, they always have a little bit of oil in them. So you're able to get the glue out, but then the oil that you get in these products kind of just even change the shape of the lashes for that, and you don't want that. So what I would highly recommend you do is to take a spoolie, and right here I have some rubbing alcohol. In Nigeria here we call this mentholated spirit. So if you've heard people say rubbing alcohol all the time here on YouTube, that is basically mentholated spirit. We call it mentholated spirit here. So you just get this. I always have a bottle of this around the house, not just for first aid but for situations like this. So what you're going to do is to just open this, pour some of it out on a container, or you can even just put some of it on the cap, right? Just a tiny little bit, and you put your spoolie into this and then work that through the lash. work that through the lash. The reason why this works so well is that, first of all, rubbing alcohol will not leave any type of filmy, greasy layer on the lashes. It will not make it clump together. It will separate the lashes thoroughly, and then rubbing alcohol dries really quickly. With wipes and makeup removers and all the other ones, they don't dry immediately, so you kind of have to wait for the lash to dry properly before you can even use it. And when you're trying to leave the house, you don't have time for all of that. So I would highly recommend that you try this hack. It's one that is so tried and tested for me. Just try it. You will be so surprised how well it will work for you. It's a solution to a problem that I had for years until sometime last year. I was like, let me use rubbing alcohol, because at that point I had been using rubbing alcohol for so many things, and I was like, this is what I had been missing. This was the solution. And this also works for semi-permanent lashes. So let us say that you have semi-permanent lashes on, but then, for example, you're also doing eyeliner. So you have to do a look that you line your eyes with some sort of liquid or gel liner. You can actually, in the process, kind of maybe get a little bit of eyeliner on the semi-permanent lashes, and that is even like that one like really can't cause panic, because you're like, okay, what do I do to wipe this off? And you kind of start panicking and you use a makeup wipe and all of that. You don't really want all of that to happen. So you can just put a little bit of rubbing alcohol very gently, very carefully. Just work that spoolie that has the little bit of alcohol on it through your semi-permanent lashes, and it releases those like clumps that you have immediately. Perfect. Okay, I wish that someone had told me this. So the next tip is also for false eyelashes and semi-permanent lashes as well. So you know sometimes when sometimes when you order a pair of lashes, they look perfect, like the same, even in the packaging. But then when you place these lashes on your eyes, especially the fluffy ones, they just do not sit the same. So one kind of maybe looks a bit fluffier, or like maybe the shape is just slightly different. And then one can have like spaces where one does not, like obvious spaces where one does not. One good hack that I have for a situation like this, to kind of even out the way you want your lashes to look, or just even the lashes out, is to go over the one that has a lot of spaces with mascara. That has worked for me. So you just take mascara, not heavily, very lightly. You don't want to just change the lashes completely, but you can just use mascara and kind of work it through whichever one has a lot of space in between that doesn't look like the other one. Just pay very close attention. Keep doing that till things even out. You're good. I've had this problem a lot recently, especially with a lot of the fluffy lashes that are in trend right now. It can happen. Use a mascara very lightly, not a lot. Use it to even things out. That's a very good way to do that, instead of removing the lashes and trying to put it on again. And if you want to get that mascara that you've applied to even things out at the end of the day, just do the mentholated spirit thing that I explained. It also disinfects your lashes in the process. These lashes, you shouldn't wear them more than 2 to 3, 4 times. But then the thing about alcohol is that it also disinfects and kills bacteria while you use it. So it's like a win-win, I would say. But be very, very careful, guys, because especially if you have sensitive eyes and your eyes are watery, do not go into that area with a lot of alcohol. Very, very little. That is what you need. Very little. Okay, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. Give it a thumbs up if you liked it. Subscribe to me if you are not yet subscribed. Just tell me like if you've tried any of these hacks, or if you have one that you think is really cool that you've never heard anyone talk about before here on YouTube. Like, share it in the comment section so that we learn a thing or two. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. A thumbs up and subscribe to me, especially if this is not my first video that you've watched. I'll see you guys in my next one.